Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse podcast. This is your host, Tim Kanak. You can find me on X at Fantasy Aceball. And John is with me this fine morning. You can follow him on the X at John PGH. So today, this is going to be a short podcast. We're going to have another one coming for you, a longer one with Doc, where we're going to talk about some redraft hitters. But this podcast, we're going to talk about the overall organization rankings. We just did 30 teams, John.
Yeah.
20 prospects on 30 teams.
That's crazy.
Be honest with me. How many out of those 600 prospects did you actually know before we started?
Less than 10% for sure.
Less than 10%. Yeah. So how many do you remember after doing?
Yeah, not like maybe I'm up to 15%. Something like that. That is the problem. We talk about so many dudes. We just ripped right through them. It's like I'm not going to remember any of this, but I can go back at least.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and re-listen before we get to the prospect phase of the draft, because we're currently doing a 30-team MLB Warehouse Dynasty League, and we're drafting the MLB players right now.
Yeah.
And after the MLB draft, we have a snake draft coming, where out of the 30 teams, there's going to be a snake draft of prospects. And of course, how does Doc get the first pick in that out of randomization?
Yeah, right. The snake thing isn't a big deal in like a 12-team redraft league because having 12 and 13 is like nice. That pretty much makes up for not having the top guy. But when you're at me and you are both in the bottom 7, it's like, man, getting the number 25 and the number 35 prospect is like not even close to getting one of the top guys. So yeah, and of course you're right. Doc gets the Griffin thing. That's going to be a huge boost, but we'll hope to piece it together.
Yeah, it's probably the best.
He's in my division too.
That is the best value already. It doesn't even matter. Yeah. The auction draft and the salaries, it doesn't even matter. There's nothing better than a $0 Connor Griffin.
But remember like Jerks and Profar, and I mean, how many number one BJ Upton? Like, there's been all kinds of number one overall prospects that didn't turn into much.
Bro, don't put that Oscar Tavares juju, bad juju.
Right. Well, that's okay.
Connor Griffin, because Doc's trying to get Connor on the show.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll give him a little bit of a hard time. I've been complaining lately about how everything's way too positive. Everybody's always only saying that players are good. So I'll tell him like, hey, Griffin, like, remember Jarkson Profar? Not that whatever Jarkson Profar's made a fine career, but do you remember that in 2010, 2011? Yes. Like Profar was like, oh, this guy can't miss. That like gave me the what is it? The red pill? Is that what they call it? Or the black? Which pill is it that where your eyes are open to something? I was like, oh,
yeah, you got red pilled on Jarkson
These
Profar.
Prospect guys are not on Profar, but on the idea that people can think that a top prospect can't miss, and then they miss pretty bad.
Yeah, they do. You know,
Oscar Tavares, didn't he get killed in a car crash though?
Yeah, in the Dominican Republic.
It's not his fault.
Yeah, his fault.
Maybe it was his fault.
But, I don't know. You're Dono Ventura.
Yeah, that stuff happens. But Tavares wasn't. Maybe he would have been fine, but anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's the risk. I was listening though to a Foul Territory podcast the other day, and Scott brought up a point that apparently, like, it was like the majority. I can't remember. It's like 85 or 88% or something of first rounders actually make the MLB, and it's because the team spends the money in the draft pick on them, so they feel like they have to justify it, even if that player sucks.
Some cost stuff.
Yeah. Well, look at Mickey Moniak. I mean, they tried him and he was terrible for years, and then finally he, hit. Yeah. So just interesting stuff. But anyway, we're going to talk about the organization rankings. And John, if you want to throw the first 10 up, we're subdividing this into categories of 10 here.
Oh no.
And
spoiler.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to talk about how I came up with these rankings. Yeah, you start at the bottom. It's fine. We can start at the worst. Start at the worst, get to the best.
Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, that's cool. That's usually what we do. So
good.
All right. So we're looking at the bottom 10 teams right now, 21 through 30 for organizations. The way that I did this is that I gave 6 points for it, and it's all based on points, basically. So if you have a top 15 prospect, I gave you 6 points for that prospect. And why top 15, Tim? Why not top 10? Well, in my prospect rankings, I feel like there's a very clear tier, John, between like number 15 and number 16. Which number 15 is Thomas White, who I feel like is an ace caliber starting pitcher. And then number 16 is Dylan Beavers, who I don't feel like is going to be a superstar. Like I love Beavers. Like I'm all team Beavers, but I feel like he's going to be more of like an all-star caliber type player or like a really, really good starter than like a superstar. So I feel like the top 15 is like my potential superstar, like cutoff tier for the prospects. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So then my next cutoff point, I give 5 points if you're in the top 35, because I feel like there's another clear cutoff at 35, where 35, I feel like are guys who could be all-star type players and who have actually played in the minor leagues. The only guy who hasn't played in the minor leagues in the top 35 is Jon Anderson. Every other guy that was drafted in this recent draft who has not played yet and has not put up any like MILB service time, or guys who have only played in the Dominican or Complex League, are not included in that. So like even though like Josuar Gonzalez, I feel like could be maybe a superstar, he's still so far away that he gets bumped down to the next tier. So top 35 guys are all guys that I think could be all stars, and then also have actually like a decent amount of track record in the MILB. So that's 5 points. Top 65 is 4 points. So my next tier is at 65. And I didn't just pick these on random. I did end on like fives just to make it easy. But basically, the top 65 are like the guys that I think could be all stars, but like are maybe a little bit further away, if that makes sense, John.
Yep.
So the next one is 3 points for top 110, which I feel is just like that next tier. Like I feel like the top 110 are really kind of like solid guys. They should be in the majors. They've either got like good proximity on their side and they're going to be a starter, like a starting caliber player in the majors. There's like very little risk compared to some of the guys that are further out. So that top 110 is 3 points. The next one is the top 165 is 2 points. Some of those guys have some risk baked in. They're a little more risky. They're further out. There's no really guarantees for those top 165, where I feel like the top 110, like all those guys are pretty much locks to be MLB players and like have some sort of starting capacity or starting role in some capacity. And then 1 point for anyone in the top 300. So basically, that's the point systems, how the points work out. And then I gave extra points for depth, which we'll get into later, but none of these like bottom 10 teams got any depth points because they just don't have a lot of guys. So the last place team here is the San Diego Padres. They only have 6 points because they have one player in the top 165, and then they have 4 players in the top 300. I think we kind of hit it when we did that pod. Like that was a fun pod to do when we did it because it was so bad, but it like kind of made it fun because they were so bad. But that's pretty easily the worst org.
Did anybody listen to that one? I wonder. We should go look at like the views and see which teams had the most interest. But I wonder.
That one actually had good views, but
Yeah.
I think it had good views because everyone is like, who do the Padres even have? Like, it's just like so curious. Like nobody even knows any of those guys. So I feel like that one got a good amount of views because nobody writes about them. Nobody talks about the Padres farm. So we're like the only ones. So if you search like Padres top 20 prospects, we might be like the first thing that pops up.
But maybe their fans are just like desensitized to it and they don't even think about it. But here's your top guys. Cash Mayfield was the guy you were talking about, or you referred to.
Yep, Cash Mayfield is the one guy in the top 165.
You can get all these Tim's full system ranks. There's looks like at least 15 to no, I guess obviously at least 20 prospects ranked for each team. And then a lot of these teams have more, and it's all in this Excel file that you can get on his prospect package. But it's still pinned at MLB Data Warehouse. But you can get all this. Some of the stuff will show. But let's not spend more time on the Padres.
Yeah, $29.99. You can get all that stuff plus redraft cheat sheet, 3 or 5 year dynasty cheat sheets. Yeah. So good stuff, and you can get all my prospect stuff now instead of having to wait. Because I'm still releasing on X, and it's gonna be a biatch to try to find that if you don't buy the stuff. You're just me scrolling X. My whole X profile.
You should have done like a hashtag to make it easier for people. They could click on it, see it. But I guess we don't want to do that.
I don't want to make it easier.
Don't want to make
the easier thing is to spend the $29.99 and like pay me for my work.
For sure.
That's the easier thing. Number 29 is the Los Angeles Angels. So they have one guy in the top 110, one guy in the top 165. 3 guys in the top 300. So they have 5 players in the top 300, just like the Padres, but they have more better players. So they have 8 points instead of 6.
Bremer and Klassen are the 2 guys.
Yes. Yeah. Tyler Bremner. George Klassen.
Okay.
Number 28 is the Houston Astros, who have like such a weird organization. Just because there's no hit tool. It's just all power and speed. And the guys who throw hard with no control. It's like just tools. It's all tools and nothing else. So 28 is the Astros. They've got 9 points. 2 guys in the top 165, 5 in the top 300, and that's 7 guys total. So, but just none of them are really high up. And I think their top guys are Sullivan and Melton, I want to say.
Well, Melton's gone. Sullivan and Xavier Nyans.
Yeah, there you go. Nyans, there you go.
Yeah.
27, Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves have 10 points. They have 2 guys in the top 110. That's Owen Murphy and Cam Caminetti. They've got 1 guy in the top 165.
Fuentes.
They have who?
Didier Fuentes is at 124.
Yeah, Diddy. Our boy Diddy. 2 guys in the top 300. So they only have 5 guys total in the top 300. So they actually have less guys than the Astros, but they have a couple guys who are ranked higher, hence the higher points. Number 26 is the Colorado Rockies. They have 1 in the top 65. Thank you, Ethan Holiday, for boosting this system. Then they have 1 guy in the top 165. That's Charlie Condon. So, if you pick in the top 10 a couple times, you should have a couple good guys, one would think. Then they've got 5 guys in the top 300, so that gives them 7 guys overall.
Are they going to just have to move? Are they going to get sold? I mean, how long can you be this pathetic?
Oh, they just have what's his face, the guy from Moneyball or whatever is their new president of baseball operations. So we'll see if he can figure out their whole atmospheric issues over there and try to find some cheat code. So it's just dealing with the Rockies is just such a hard, there has to be no harder job in professional sports than to be the GM of that team.
But isn't there some formula? Couldn't you just get a bunch of ground ball pitchers and then just stack up an offense or something?
Well, if I was the Rockies, I would spend no money on players. All that money that they wasted on Chris Bryant, they could have spent on experiments. And I would have just hired all the smartest people in the front office, and then you just run atmospheric experiments to see what pitches perform the best under those atmospheric conditions, and then you just load up on those types of pitchers so that you don't have pitchers with 6 ERAs across the board.
I don't just get ground balls. That seems maybe I think it's too obvious, but the problem in the Coors is the air, so just keep the ball out of the air.
Yeah, it's also a big outfield too, so it's
but if it's on the ground, the outfield doesn't factor.
Well, so then that means you need a really good infield defense.
Yeah.
You need all you need a bunch of Andre Palantes. So Andre, the Rockies should trade
Jose Soriano, Andre Palante, David Peterson,
and then spend all your money on hitters instead of pitchers because nobody wants those.
They should at least try it.
Yeah. Number 25 is the Kansas City Royals. You got 1 guy in the top 35 here for the Royals. Then we have 3 in the top 165. And the 1 guy in the top 35, John, is whom? I don't have that.
Carter. We're talking about the Royals? Carter Jensen.
Carter Jensen. Okay, so we got Carter Jensen with the Royals, who's in the MLB. And then top 30, the next 3, there we go. Kendry Chorio, Blake Mitchell, and Ramon Ramirez. So 3 catchers. So gotta love that. Catcher power right here. Kendry Chorio, big up-and-coming guy, really far away as a pitcher, insane command for his age. So next on the list is the 24 Chicago White Sox, who are picking first overall next year, so that's going to help their system. They've got 1 top 35, that's Bonnemer. They've got 1 top 65, that's Braden Montgomery. They've got 1 top 110, that's Hagen Smith. And then they've got 5 top 300 guys. You've got Opor mixed in there. And Noah Schultz is in there. So you got a bunch of pitchers. Yeah. There's the top 3 in the top 165 there. So overall, though, as far as points, the White Sox have 17 points. The Royals had 15. They both have 8 guys in the top 300. Number 23, Texas Rangers have 18 points. So Texas Rangers 1 point ahead of the White Sox. They've got 1 guy in the top 15. So that's Sebastian Walcott. So they've got 1 potential superstar here. They've got 2 top 110 guys. That's Caden Scarborough, who is really an up-and-coming pitcher right now. Then they've got David Davalillo, who would probably be a really good Rockies pitcher because he runs 55, 60% ground ball rates. And he's getting guys out on craftiness and stuff like that and just really low whips. So that guy would be a really good Rockies pitcher probably. So Those are 3 in the top 150, and they've got 6 in the top 300. So some of those guys are like recent draftees. Some of those guys are hurt pitchers, but Rangers get 18 points. Number 22 is the Washington Nationals. So the Nationals had a lot of first-round picks, but a lot of those guys have already graduated now, John. So you've got here at the top 41, Eli Willits, Harlan Susana. I love Susana. Travis Sakura, unfortunate. Sakura would be a top 15 guy if he didn't have the TJ. So just keep that in mind. Like if you're far away, you can get really good value on Sakura right now in dynasty leagues if you're like not playing for next year or the next couple of years anyway. So you might want to just buy Sakura at his discount that he's at right now.
In the we did the automated rankings using the F scores and some of the other stuff, and he would be the number 1 pitching prospect in the automation part of it, which doesn't quite factor in level super big, but yeah, I mean that's the kind of upside he has.
Yep. And then we got Harry Ford here, who came over from the Mariners in that trade. So, and it sounds like Harry Ford is going to be able to compete. It said that they want him to compete with Keibert Ruiz for the starting role. So something interesting. And then we've got Marconi Herman, who's DSL guy, far away, really high upside, but really far away. So those are the top 5 in the Nationals org. So they've got 5 in the top 150. They've got 8 total in the top 300. That's 18 points. Number 21, Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays have traded a lot of their guys recently. At the deadline, they traded a couple of their guys, a couple of their pitchers, Rojas and Cal Steven, but they're at 21 still. So they still have Savage still qualifies as a prospect. So he's a top 35 guy for me. I think he projects more as like a number 2 starter than a number 1 longer term. I know some people right now are buying him as a number 1 because he's so dominant in the playoffs, but I think he's more like a number 2 guy.
I bought him and Cease in the Dynasty League, so against my will, I'll be somewhat a Blue Jays fan next year. Maybe I'll trade them both.
Yeah, Blue Jays rotation anyway. We got JoJo Parker at 49, has not debuted yet, but pretty high upside, high draftee from high school. Arjun Namala, high school guy who has kind of dropped a bit in the rankings, really bad second half. Johnny King at 128, really nice stuff here for Johnny King, but he's far away. Gage Stanifer at 135 has insane 2-pitch stuff. Like that guy has 2 elite pitches, but that's it. Like he needs more pitches. So that's why he's at 135. And then Ricky Tiedemann at 154 coming back from injury. And he's proximity. So Tiedemann is a proximity guy. Like he should probably debut this year if he's healthy.
I feel like I've been hearing about him since 2021 or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you need a new elbow ligament is you kind of fall off the face of the earth for a couple of years, and then it feels like the guy's been around forever. But they've got 19 points, 6 guys in the top 150, 7 in the top 300. So we'll get to the next tier here. Number 20 is the Boston Red Sox. So Red Sox have traded a decent amount of prospects of late. That's kind of thrown them off because I thought they were going to be a top 10 org. It's dropped them all the way down to the top 20. I do not have Marcelo Meyer in these rankings. So if you had Meyer, that would probably boost him up a little bit. But he's like 2 plate appearances away from graduating from prospect rankings, and then he got hurt, so I didn't want to throw him on there. But you got Peyton Tolley at 32, Kyson Witherspoon at 51, Connolly Early at 58. So 3 really good pitchers off the bat there. That Luis Perales one is old. That you must have copied that from the old spreadsheet there, John, because my version 2.0, which, by the way, as the trades are happening, if you do buy the prospect package, John will send you updated versions. So you're not just buying my old one. I did send John a version 2.0 after some of these trades. So he did send the 2.0 out. There was just a prospect trade the other day where a prospect moved. So I'll have to adjust on that. I'm kind of waiting probably for another week or 2 to see if we get a couple more trades before I send a 3.0 out, but I will send a 3.0 out. But we got Franklin Arias also in the 75. So Perales actually moved to the Nationals. So he's on the Nationals points for this thing. Alrighty. So that's the Red Sox 20 points. Chicago Cubs at number 19 for 21 points. That's going to go down because they just traded one of their guys, Owen Casey, to the Marlins. So Marlins are going to go up. Cubs are going to go down. So Cubs are probably actually below the Red Sox at this point now because one of their top 110 guys moved. So they've got one top 65 guy. That's Jackson Wiggins. They've got 2 in the top 110. That's Jefferson Rojas and Owen Casey, who just got traded to the Marlins. 3 in the top 165, 5 in the top 300. So that's 11 players total, but they just traded 2 of those 11 players. So that's going to bring them down. You see Ethan Conrad at number 100 there.
Who was Long and who else was in the trade yesterday?
Owen Casey and Christian Hernandez.
Okay.
So
Not a
that's
top guy.
yeah, he's a top 300 guy, but Owen Casey's a top 110 guy. So both those guys moved. So that's going to bring them down like 4 or 5 points or whatever in this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then number 18, New York Yankees, 22 points. It sounds like they might make a trade. We'll see what happens with that. If they do, obviously they're going to go down. They got 2 guys in the top 65. That's Dax Kilby and Carlos Lagrange, or Lagrange. I don't really know how you say that because I haven't heard it yet. Then they've got 3 in the top 110. You got Big Ben Hess in that top 110. You've got Spencer Jones. You got George Lombard Jr. in there. And then they've got another top 150 guy. That's Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. So decent amount of pitching in this Yankees org. A couple of shortstops too. So there was talk that they were going to be the ones who traded for Cabrera. So guess not. But they may try to shift focus to another pitcher at this point since they didn't get Cabrera. Be interesting to see. But that's the Yankees org for now. So the Yankees at 22 points. Marlins also have 22 points. But I like the Marlins org better. So even though they have the same amount of points, I bumped them ahead of the Yankees. And that was before the Casey trade.
Yeah.
So you got to remember now the Marlins are probably at like 25 points. So they might be ahead of the Dodgers now. That trade might have bumped them up to like 13, 14 in these rankings.
Does it make you think Thomas White and, well, I guess Snelling, you think Snelling just makes the rotation now with Cabrera gone?
I think you should. Right now, Max Meyer would be the number 5 guy. So basically the rotation, the back of the rotation is Braxton Garrett coming back from injury. And then you've got Max Meyer, who has not been good and coming back from injury. And then you've got Snelling, who's healthy and was absolutely dealt last year. So that's kind of like your 4, 5, 6. So I think with those 3 guys in the mix, there's a better than 50% chance that Snelling breaks the rotation out.
I think Meyer goes. Well, I don't know what they'll do, but Meyer doesn't have a fastball. It's got that like disgusting slider or changeup, right? He's got.
Yeah,
I don't know which.
It's 70-grade slider.
Yeah, so that's a reliever.
Yep. So Thomas White's 15, Robbie Snelling 24. Then you got Ava Arquette down at 126, Kemp Alderman at 143. Obviously, Owen Casey would fill in there as 110, so he'd be their number 3 prospect now. Carson Milbrandt at 155 and Joe Mack at 159. Marlins have a lot of good depth.
I've been drafting Joe Mack in DCs.
He's probably going to debut. So
because Augustin can't play catcher and Mack's got some pop. So I'm hoping for like 250 at bats and 12 homers or something like that from Mack this year.
Yeah.
Pretty good in a deep 2 catcher league.
For sure. And Alderman could debut too. I mean, obviously them acquiring Casey kind of throws a wrench into that plan. But we've talked about Casey. He's probably a platoon bat. So there's a chance that Alderman can come up and then they have some sort of like 4-man rookie platoon basically of like Stowers, Marcy, Alderman, and Casey, which would actually be pretty nice. So
Phillies are next.
Yep. So Philadelphia Phillies, number 16, 23 points. They've got 1 top 15. That's Aiden Miller. 1 top 65. 3 top 110s. 1 top 165. And 2 top 300. So that's 8 players. But some of their players are pretty high up. So there's a decent amount of like good players in this org. So besides Aiden Miller, you've got Andrew Painter at 38. Justin Crawford at 68. Arun Escobar at 76. Gage Wood at 93. And Dante Nori at 125.
Okay. Yeah, Aiden Miller, I guess we'll talk more about this on the next podcast, which will be redraft prospects for 2026. But Aiden Miller and Justin Crawford are definitely guys you got to know for this year.
Yep. Crawford is actually slotted in as the starter on roster resource right now, and Castellanos is the backup. So kind of interesting. Number 15 is Detroit Tigers, a very top heavy organization. So you might think a lot of people, if you just look at the top 100, you'd think that the Tigers are loaded as a system, but they're just really not. They're just very top heavy. So you got McGonigal at 2, Max Clark at 6. So 2 superstars. Josue Briseño is probably an all-star at 29. Bryce Rayner might turn into an all-star at 37. Chris Rodriguez, tons of power in the DSL at 122. So there's really good players, but it's just very top heavy. Go back to that chart there, John. If you pull up the chart here, so Tigers, 2 top 15, 1 top 35, 1 top 65. And then 0 top 110, only 1 165. So they only have 5 players in the top 150 and 5 players in the top 300. So basically just super top heavy org. 14 is the Giants, who's the exact opposite. Like there's not a lot at the top, but they're very deep. So I've got one in the top 35 for the Giants, one in the top 65, one in the top 110, two in the top 165, seven in the top 300. That's 12 players overall in the Giants organization. So super deep organization. You got Bryce Eldridge at 28. You got Josuar Gonzalez at 40, who, like I said, is a potential superstar, but he's only played in the Dominican so far. 89 is Bo Davidson. 113, Johnny Lovell. 161, Jacob Bresnahan. So just a really deep organization for the Giants, which gets them on the map here. 24 points, despite not having any, really top players. Like, I just think Eldridge is not. He's already a DH for the team. So like,
Yeah.
unless they trade him and he can play first base somewhere, that's going to ding his value some. So, and contact rates are also kind of iffy with him. So, number 13, Los Angeles Dodgers at 25 points. You got two in the top 35, two in the top 65, one at 110. I guess I don't know what I did with Quintero. I might have missed him, bumping him up a point because he should have been top. Actually, he was right outside the top 15, so that makes sense. So he was 17. He's close to that tier though. But you got Quintero at 17, Josue de Paula at 23, Zaire Hope at 52, Sirota at 63, and Emil Morales at 70. Bunch of hitters. All their pitchers are like 30 years old, 27 years old prospects, basically. I don't really like Jackson Ferris very much. So they've got 9 players in the top 300, 5 in the top 150. Number 12 is the Cincinnati Reds. They're pretty spread out here. One top 15, one top 35, one top 65, 4 top 110. A lot of good pitchers. Obviously, the top 15 is Chase Burns. So they've got 7 in the top 150, but they only have 7 in the top 300. So they don't have a lot of depth after these 7 here. But Chase Burns at 3, Sal Stewart at 21, Alfredo Duno at 61, Hector Rodriguez at 74. Sal Stewart, Rodriguez, and Burns, and then Rhett Lauder. Tons of proximity in this org. And then you've got Tyson Lewis and Steele Hall, 80 and 81, shortstops, both very far away. And Duno also A-ball. So you've got 3 guys like at A-ball, and then you've got 4 guys who will probably debut this year. So there's like really nothing in the middle. It's like there's just like this big gap in proximity where they're going to have like a 1 or 2 year period where there's like no guys who come.
Yeah, it's going to be gross next year. Burns and Stewart will be off this list by May or something, right? So
yeah, Rodriguez and Lauder will be off the list too, probably.
Yeah.
So, yep. Number 11, Cleveland Guardians, who always seem to be kind of like in this range as an organization. They're just pretty good at developing guys. 30 points. You've got Travis Bazana at 25, Ralphie Velasquez at 44, Chase DeLauder at 55, Parker Messick at 92. So talk again about proximity. DeLauder, Messick, and Bazana are probably all guys who debut this year. Juniker Caceres is far away, 96. Jason Laviolette is 152, and Wilbin Francisca is 160. So decent depth in that org. And then next, we've got John's Pirates at number 10 with 30 points, tied with the Athletics with also 30 points, but I like the Athletics better than the Pirates. No offense, John. The Pirates are very top-heavy, and the Athletics just are a deeper organization. You see you've got 12 in the top 300 for the Athletics and only 10 for the Pirates. So that's what gives the Athletics the edge. So we can see here for the first time in the chart, if you're watching on YouTube or X, are extra points. So basically what I did, John, is if anyone had more than the average was 6 or like kind of like the breaking point was 6 in the top 150. So if you had more than 6 players in the top 150, I gave you an extra depth point. And then if you had, I think it was more than 10 or more than 11 in the top 300, I gave you an extra depth point. So Athletics getting the boon here just on depth, basically. Pirates are obviously better from like a top heavy point of view because you've got Connor Griffin at number 1, Edward Florentino, who is actually the number 1 guy on F scores.
Yeah.
F scores his favorite player is Edward Florentino. He's at number 9, but he's far away. Bubba Chandler at 35. So proximity here for Chandler and Griffin. 57 for Seth Hernandez, who is also far away and kind of gets dinged in my rankings for being further away because I think he's going to be really, really good. 109, Esmeralyn Valdez. I just don't know proximity. We'll talk about him in the next pod, John, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens now that they signed O'Hearn. If he moves to the outfield or DH or what, but like his bat is so good. If he continues what he was doing in the fall league, like it's gonna be hard to keep him off the roster, to be quite honest. And then 147, Termar Johnson still kind of hanging around as a decent prospect, despite like being around forever. So that's the Pirates. You got anything on your team?
Florentino's exciting, but it's so far away. Now that I wish I didn't know. I wish I didn't know that he is supposed to be something because he won't be. You know, we'll see. Long way to go. I will never.
No Oscar Tavares, please.
Well, yeah, stay alive.
Stay alive.
Yeah.
Number 9, the Athletics, who hilariously could not lost their trademark could not get the trademark for Las Vegas Athletics, which is funny.
Yeah.
But number 14, Leo DeVries, they got him from the Padres. A bunch of pitchers here: 60 Jamie Arnold, 66 Gage Jump, 94 Devin Taylor, 99 Wei En Lin, 150 Henry Bolte, 156 Edgar Montero, who's in the DSL. So just a decent amount of depth in this org. They're kind of like, there's proximity guys here with Jamie Arnold and Devin Taylor, college guys who should move fast. There's like guys who are far away. Even Leo DeVries is proximity. The guy's 18 years old or whatever. He's already at AA. So like there's proximity here, even with some of the young guys, because they're so good. But it's a really interesting org. There's a lot of high end and it's some decent depth. You got like Tommy White still in the org. So pretty good org for the Athletics with 30 points, 12 in the top 300. Number 8, Arizona Diamondbacks. They have 8 guys in the top 150, 13 in the top 300 for 31 points. The Brewers also had 31 points, but I like the Brewers organization better and nudged them ahead based on my bias. So Diamondbacks, 1 top 35, 1 top 65. Got Walchman at 31. Demetrio Crisantes, I'm the high guy on him for sure. Like nobody else is going to have him this high at 64. Like I just love the combo here. He was hurt last year, so now is the buying opportunity for him. 79 is Daniel Egan. That's Doc's favorite player, of course, because he had brain cancer or whatever. 104, Mitch Bratt. 115, Tommy Troy, who's probably going to debut this year. 118, David Hageman. 130, Patrick Forbes, their first rounder. And 144, Kason Cunningham, shortstop, who was also a first rounder for him. They had 2 first-round picks.
Let's go right into the Brewers. We got to finish this up.
Brewers, number 7, Jesus Mate. 11, Luis Pena. Logan Henderson, top 59, so 3 in the top 100. You got 6 in the top 150 with Cooper Pratt, Jefferson Caro, Braylon Payne. Who do we have next, John? So that's the Brewers.
Rays. Here we go. Back to that.
Braves are
Rays.
Rays number 6 with 33 points. So Rays had 17 guys in the top 300. That's tied for the most. But they had none in the top 65. So you got Carson Williams at 85, Theo Gillen 86, Brady Hopkins at 95, TJ Nichols at 131, Brendan Summerhill at 138, Aiden Smith 140, Jed Arenamo 141, Santiago Suarez at 158. So that is the Rays. Next, we've got, I think, a big boost in points here to 37. So the top 5 here is pretty strong. You got Mariners at 37, Twins at 37, and Mets at 37. I put them Mets, Twins, Mariners because that's my thoughts on what I like the best. So all 3 with 37 points. So 3 is Mets, 4 is Twins, 5 is Mariners. So Mariners here have 14 in the top 300, 7 in the top 150.
Here's that quick.
There we go. Emerson at number 19, Colt Emerson. 27 is Cade Anderson, their first pick. 50 is Michael Arroyo. 56, Ryan Sloan. 65, Laz Montes. 67, Johnny Farmelo. And 163, Felton Celestin. So next here is the Minnesota Twins with 37. So Twins have 15 in the top 300, 8 in the top 150. Twins have a lot of depth, and they have a lot of proximity too, John, because they traded basically their whole bullpen last year for a bunch of prospects. So they've got Walker Jenkins at number 10, superstar potential. 39, you got Kalen Culpepper, so he could be all-star level, but I think he's just like going to be like a really solid starter, like we comped him to Swanson. 45, Eduardo Tait. They traded Duran for him. Number 91, Emmanuel Rodriguez, who's been around forever, gets hurt all the time. 107, Dason Hill, a lot of upside as a pitcher. Mick Abel is 117. He should play this year. Connor Prelip, 119. He should play this year. Kalai Rosario, 148. He might play this year. So a lot of proximity here with the Twins. Number 3, Mets. So Mets have 8 in the top 150, 12 in the top 300. Nolan McLean is at 8. Carson Bench at 22. Both those guys are probably going to break camp. Jonah Tong at 26 is maybe iffy. He might be number 5, number 6 starter. Number 36, Jet Williams. 69, AJ Ewing. 102, Ryan Clifford. 121, Elian Pena, DSL far away. 133, Jack Weninger, who also could play this year. Number 2 is my St. Louis Cardinals.
Is this new because of these trades?
The trades have helped, but they've been building a lot of depth. So they've got 7 guys in the top 150 and 17 in the top 300. So JJ Weatherholt, number 5, Raniel Rodriguez at number 30, Joshua Baez at 33, Liam Doyle at 47, Quinn Matthews at 98, Danielle Ortiz at 120, and Tink Hence at 153 are the top players in the organization. So the St. Louis Cardinals end up as the number 2 organization. And drum roll, please. Number 1 is the Baltimore Orioles. I love this organization. They traded from this organization, and they're still number 1 with 43 points. 9 guys in the top 150, 17 in the top 300, but they're going to lose some of these guys. So they're going to go down because Samuel Basayo is going to graduate at number 4. Dylan Beavers is going to graduate at number 16. We've got Nate George at 42. Again, you copied this from the old one, but these points are based after the trade. So Michael Fourette was traded to the Rays, so he's not on there anymore. But my points are based on my new one. So that is the good news. Yeah. Aaron Estrada is number 90. So even after the trade, they're still number 1, is what I'm saying. Number 90 is Aaron Estrada. Number 103 is Trey Gibson. 116 is Ike Irish. 119 is Haiwa Aloy. Because remember, the Orioles did have like 4 first-rounders this year, too. So that is, of course, going to help. 165 is Jerron Watts-Brown, who they got from the Blue Jays at the deadline. So really strong orgs. There's a bunch of good pitchers in this organization too. Very deep. A lot of good relievers even. The Orioles have probably the 2 best relief pitcher prospects in baseball.
Big deal.
Yeah,
relief pitchers.
Tyson Neighbors is going to be a stud. So that's the Orioles, number 1 team. So let's recap this top 5 for people, John.
Here's the whole thing.
Number 1 is Baltimore Orioles, 2 St. Louis Cardinals, 3 New York Mets, 4 Minnesota Twins, 5 Seattle Mariners. I guess I'll go to the top 10. 6 Tampa Rays, 7 Milwaukee Brewers, 8 Arizona Diamondbacks, 9 Athletics, who can't find a name, a City for their trademark, and 10 Pittsburgh Pirates. So those are your top 10 teams overall, based on my points and stuff like that. So I think that was a good way to do it, is to just like break it down into points. Make sure you subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse, people, so you can play with all the fun tools, see this stuff, and you're going to get updates in season on that. If you buy the prospect package, that's going to be great for your drafts. Even John bought one. So even John bought the prospect package.
All right, hold on. I was just testing. I was testing the sales mechanism.
Hey, I'm trying to boost the thing here. So even John though,
I will use it
the sheets
for 100%.
He's going to use the sheets for his draft. He's going to edit them for himself, which is another handy dandy thing because you're getting spreadsheets. So if you're like, Tim has this guy way too high and this guy way too low, you can sort your own guys for your own biases, but you'll still get all the F scores with that. And it's going to give you a really nice starting point for your rankings to start with your draft prep work. So buy that for $29.99 and then subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse so that in season you can play with the tools and you're getting F score updates. Otherwise, you're not going to know the new F scores.
Major league stuff is really starting to ramp up. I'm closing in on the team previews being done, and then I'll really shift into trying to just put out the best, like redraft. The whole thing started with redraft. That's my thing. I'm like focused heavily on the 12-team leagues where like 350, 400 players are drafted. So don't get it confused. This isn't suddenly a prospect website. Like the redraft stuff is coming hot and heavy, and that'll come out through January, February, and try to finish it all by March when drafts start. But pretty much any way you play fantasy baseball these days, in-season DFS and betting stuff too, like any way you're interacting with any form of fantasy baseball, MLB Data Warehouse has it. So it's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure you subscribe and follow us on X at Fantasy Baseball, at JohnPGH. Subscribe to the podcast too. Subscribe to the YouTube channels and give us some reviews, people. We need some reviews. Let's get some reviews. I know a lot of you are listening and watching. I get texts from people and like Discords and Twitter messages saying, "Hey, I love the podcast. You, John, and Doc are awesome." Can you like do that in the review thing, please? Thank you. I appreciate it.
And nobody's doing your thing. I've gotten plenty of paid subscribers, and pretty much after Christmas, the curve starts going back up. Nobody's leaving that note to say I'm subscribing for Tim, man. Not a single one. I know that I know they are, but they're not noting it, so I can't.
That's so lame. Please, people, do that. That's how Doc and I get paid. So make sure that you say that you subscribe because of Tim and Doc. Otherwise, my wife is gonna be like, "You're not making enough money on this. Stop doing it." So please do it. Thanks. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.
Later.